Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This afternoon, I almost said tonight, this afternoon, our guest is AJ Jazrome Coulter. Kill jokes, not kidneys. Kidney disease survivor and transplant recipient, comedian, speaker, advocate, and spokesman for the Texas Kidney Foundation. AJ was a football player, and like most athletes, he thought he would be doing that for the rest of his life. He had dreams of playing in the NFL. He played football at Northeastern Oklahoma State A&M and decided to transfer to Oklahoma State as a walk-on, but he never made it to the field. He started noticing heart permutations, and a trip to the ER would change everything. A biopsy was done, and Jazrome was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease, close to kidney failure. Quote, I was diagnosed with focal segmental glomerulosis, or FSGS, and I had no idea how to react to it. I really was by myself. I was scared. I was just so lost, unquote. Coulter did not fully understand his diagnosis, and a year later, his kidneys failed. He was on dialysis for 5 long years. During that time, he made a funny video about his kidney disease and dialysis treatment, and his family urged him to consider going into comedy. Having nothing left to lose, he became a comedian, joking about his kidney experiences. AJ became listed for a transplant, and in June of 2022, he received a kidney transplant, joking about his weight all that time. Currently, he uses his platform looking for his donor family and encouraging others to become organ donors. His mission in life is to open up the dialogue surrounding kidney disease. Quote, this is my second chance, and I know I am going to change the world. And I just want that family to know that they sacrificed a life, and now I am going to save millions, unquote, talking about his donor family. AJ not only has become a very successful comedian, but also a recognized and respected kidney advocate and spokesman for the Texas Kidney Foundation. You can learn more about AJ from his Instagram page at AJ_Coulter and the number 2. If laughter is truly the best medicine, AJ's comedy act might just save a life or two. Quote, I just felt like this was my calling. I am meant to do this, and I know we're going to affect people's lives in a profound way, unquote. Please give a warm welcome to our friend, AJ Jazrome Coulter. AJ, how are you doing today?
Sorry.
AJ, are you
I'm doing
there?
amazing, man. What about yourself? Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'm doing all right. Did I state everything correctly in the introduction?
uh, yeah, everything sounded good. My nickname is AJ. I would prefer to go by Jazrome.
Jazrome? Okay.
The best way to find me is on Instagram, and the my Instagram tag is AJ_Coulter 2. And other than that, everything else sounded good, man. You pretty much nailed it.
Oh, thank you. Please, let's talk a little bit about where you grew up, your education and employment experiences.
I grew up in Oklahoma City. I was born in Dallas, Texas. Spent most of my life in Oklahoma. I definitely consider myself an Oklahoman. Uh, I grew up really just country, and kind of lived in the city there. I went to high school at Putnam City High School in Oklahoma City, and then I graduated and went to Northeastern Oklahoma, and then later to Oklahoma State. While I was at Oklahoma State, I studied mechanical engineering. Um, and then after that, I sought out a lot of positions in like oil and gas.
Okay. Let's talk about your college football experiences. Tell us a little bit about you're being a football player?
Oh man, it's such a deep story when it comes to my football background because it just meant so much to me. I think it's always been a vital part of my life and kind of what happened because I had a really childhood, and I always felt like football was kind of my way to get out of that. Like I was always, watching NFL players and seeing what they're doing in life and how they was helping like in a community. So I was always passionate, and I always felt like, man, this is like a way to kind of get out this rough neighborhood, and and that was my idea as a kid, and I always chased it my whole life. It was something that no matter what, I stayed consistent. Like even in high school, I actually didn't have the ability to play much because I was not so active into my grades. But I remember still going to practice even when I wasn't eligible, and I was just always working hard and showing up, when nobody else did. And then it was truly a blessing, kind of, transition into college ball, and you know, I just kind of learned a lot about myself, about how, because I did get recruited in high school, but a lot of that was, I was actually putting out different tapes, going to different schools, pretty much kind of marketing myself. And that taught me that, if you really want something in life, you really got to chase it. And college football also humbled me. Going into that level of the collegiate, it's just, everything's ridiculously competitive. Football is life. You're really only taking one online class. I mean, you're taking really one course in person, but the rest of it is just football. And it really taught me that determination and discipline. And it really carried on in my life, even though it didn't work out how I wanted it to. Uh, I think the biggest blessing out of that is when I did find out I had kidney disease. I was about 245. I had a bench about like 595, just ridiculous. And they said that my creatinine was 34, and that they're surprised that I shouldn't be rolling on the ground like in like just the worst pain. And so, it kind of led up to where I am today in a way.
Okay. Um, Currently, you're a comic. Can you tell us a little bit about your comedic experiences?
Oh man, there's so many. I think one of the most important things about my comedy is I was on dialysis for 5.5 years, and I just remember some of the best times because we spent 4.5 hours sitting in there in that chair, and we didn't have much to do, and so I just remember sitting there writing jokes, which just helped me get through that. And even though I was very sick, because I was in it for years, and it takes a real toll on your body, and it kind of broke me down. And then I remember when I first got on stage. I was terrified, and I ran off actually the first time, but I remember multiple times after that, because I was doing dialysis and I was still doing comedy. Whenever I got on stage, I would actually vomit in between sets. And then it just like really showed me how much love I had for this. And it helped me not only grow like internally, but just like with everything in my life. Because you have to have so much discipline, that ability to like get up and work, the ability to get up and practice this, the ability to get up and work and write, and then also market yourself. So it was just so much to me. Like I think one of the coolest things about it is I met so many people. I've met George Lopez. Funny, I actually met Chris Kattan. I might mess up his last name, but it was actually on this crazy thing where this guy like told me to come on his show, and he was there, and we're getting ready to go on stage. And this is my first year of comedy, and I'm getting ready to do this 5 minutes. And they were like, "Hey, you guys aren't supposed to be here." But I always think back to that moment, like, I was so inexperienced. This is my first year. Like, what would have happened if I got on stage with this guy that's just basically a legend? And then being able to like get on stage and tell my story in like such a unique way that kind of educates people. Man, it's just a undescribable feeling. Like I have so much love for comedy.
Where are you performing right now?
Currently, I actually just took 2 months off, and I'm currently in Phoenix. I'm getting ready for two conferences up in September. One with Brand X, a bunch of speakers, motivators. Man, they have amazing lineup. And then later, that with pretty much like the second week of September, I'll be in Vegas doing hosting and emceeing a conference for the Reno Healthcare Association. So it'll be fun. And then I got some stuff coming up with like Texas Kidney, of course, and supposedly the consulate down there. But we'll see. A lot of big things. Also got some smaller shows in clubs coming up. So yeah, just a little bit of everywhere, man.
Okay. I understand that if people want to keep up with you, Jazrome, they go to your Instagram page. And the site was
Mm-hmm.
at AJ_Coulter, the number 2. Is that correct?
At AJ_Coulter, yeah, the number 2.
Okay, and that's scrolling across the screen, folks, just in case you want to know. And as is my custom, if you go to my personal Facebook page, this broadcast is pinned to the top of my page. If you go to the comments, all my research on Jazrome is there. So that includes the link to his Instagram page. So if you want to learn more about Jazrome, you want to know where he's going to be, maybe catch his act, you can get the link to the Instagram page or some of his other links. And he's done a lot of video stuff, which is pretty cool too, by the way. So you can drill down a little bit if you want to do that. Um, let's talk about when the kidney problems first started. I understand that you went to the ER with heart permutations. Can you tell us what happened?
The real deep and nitty gritty story. It was, comedy is kind of my way of healing, and I don't really get to tell different versions of it. Like, it's a lot of stuff because, I'm either going through it fast or breaking it down. But the funny thing about that was, funny or not, I found it funny, is my heart permutations actually started after I like ate this Carl Jr. hamburger. And so it happened for about 24 hours. And, we kind of raised up in a different uh, generation. Like, I never went to the hospital. Like, it just wasn't a thing that I did. Like, I would rather go find like a natural healer or something, But anyway, I was just so stubborn, but like really just got so bad in that last 24 hours that I had to tell my boss. I was like, look, dude, I got to go to the hospital. And when I got there, it was pretty interesting because obviously they didn't know that the kidney disease thing was happening. But I remember them putting like a blood pressure on my left arm, and it was like 290 over like 144, just absolutely crazy. And then on the right side, it was, I think, like 12 over 74, like just not even 12, like maybe 112 over 74. It was just like abnormally low. And at first they didn't say nothing, and then they were actually getting ready to release me. And I remember the doctor running in like, no, 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 don't let him go, don't let him go. Let's give him for a kidney biopsy. And then, yeah, that was the day I found out. It was May of 2016.
Okay. And what did they tell you were diagnosed with?
Well, I mean, really, like the primary reason why I love like advocacy and like what these different foundations do is I really didn't find out that I had FSGS or focal segmental glomerular sclerosis, even though I have trouble saying it sometimes, until about 3 years that I was on dialysis, just because, lack of knowledge. A lot of, you know, nephrologists aren't taught to like really, explain what patients have. And so, I kind of got overlooked in that sense. And then I actually had a nephrologist 3 years later was like, "Do you know why you have this? Do you know what's going on?" And then she did some testing and found out that I had FSGS.
Okay. Would it be fair for me to say that at the time that you were in the hospital, the emergency room, they did the biopsy,
Hmm.
they spoke to you afterwards? Did you really understand your diagnosis at the time?
Oh no, like even dialysis was such an unfamiliar word. All I knew is that I had to make some lifestyle changes. Uh, I just remember like being in such a time that there wasn't like a lot of information given, and I have to admit, I was in 2016. I was stage 4, and I could have definitely made some life changes to really stop that progress into end stage the following year. But it was just I didn't understand how serious it was. I didn't understand how life changing it was. I wasn't taking my medications. I was still drinking. I just wasn't really paying anything into it. But I felt like if I had a little bit more knowledge, maybe I could have made some kind of change or some kind of like that direction.
Sure. I understand that about a year later, um, your kidneys really did fail completely. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
correct. I was in the hospital for about 4 weeks, and then I transitioned to dialysis. Man, spent 5.5 years in that chair. It's crazy.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your dialysis treatment? What modality were you on at the time?
Um, I was doing about 4.5 hours, 3 times a week. I was doing in center hemo, which was interesting because I only did it for a couple of weeks, and I went to peritoneal, and it turned out I was having like an adverse reaction to the solution, and man, it was crazy. I actually lost like maybe like 80 pounds just in a couple of weeks, and it made me really sick. And then I transferred back to in center hemo, and I was on there ever since.
Okay. And if I'm recalling what you said earlier, you were on dialysis for approximately 5 years.
Yeah, it was five. It was 5.5, at least from what my doctors say. But yeah, close 5.5 years. I don't really think anybody should have to spend that long on there anyway.
That's a long time. Um,
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit. What was your health like between the time you were placed on dialysis and the time that you received a kidney transplant?
Um, I would say it was very up and down. Man, I went through so much. Just even trying to find a balance from my health because uh, first 3 years I was just not compliant at all. Wasn't taking care of myself. Wasn't taking my binders. Wasn't watching my labs, and actually, it caused me to get unlisted by 2 different kidney transplant centers. And then as I got closer, I started to learn that discipline and how important. Because, man, I'm telling you, how I took care of myself the first half of dialysis, it really just made the next like the first 3 years, it made the last 2 years just so incredibly hard because I would get moments where I would just be sick randomly, and then you there wasn't nothing I can do about it, and I'm still like out here trying to network myself and then get on stage and build my brand and still do the advocacy stuff, and it was just really hard. And towards transplant, I would say within that last year, I was feeling pretty good, but I wasn't like the best. But because I saw those health changes and how it affected my body, it truly even motivated me afterwards. Because I've actually was vegetarian for a while, and I still stay pretty active working out. But a lot of that, the changes I had to make, really just like kept me disciplined. And when I got my kidney transplant, man, I'm telling you, everything has been amazing. Other than I had some dental issues that I'm still dealing with my previous medication from my immunosuppressants. And then I had to get my fistula removed like right after because I had another aneurysm forming in it. But other than that, man, I've been straight healthy. I gained some fruit pounds from being on the road, but we're about to lose that.
Okay. Talk to us about when you became listed for a kidney transplant and where you were listed.
uh, I was listed in Mayo here in Phoenix, and definitely an amazing experience there. Um, it was actually interesting because I mean, people have their opinions, but I just felt like I'm a, I believe in God and to each their own. But I felt like I actually actually got an offer for a kidney once already back in January of 22, and I turned it down because I was just so hyper focused on what I was doing and getting this word out. But I just felt like in my heart it wasn't the time. But then again, somebody else got that kidney, and so how I feel now and knowing that that other person got that kidney, like that was like a truly blessing in my heart because like I felt amazing. So I got listed the and I was on literally a week and I got the call and I turned it
Wow.
down. And then I went on for 6 months and I was like, please put me back on the list. And they put me back on the list and it was just like the most excruciating wait because, you're sitting there and I had already like, it sucked now I think about it because I already had this expectation in my head that like, oh, dude, I'm going to wait a week because I was on dialysis for 5.5 years and I got the time. And I was like, okay, it's going to be this week. It's going to be this week. It can't be that longer. And like every week for a month, that was going to be the week that I got my kidney.
Okay.
But then it happened. So,
Okay. Tell us approximately when did you receive the call?
I received the call January or July 3rd. I'm sorry, that was the other thing. So I got my kidney July 3rd, and I got the call around 3:06 in the morning. It was so funny. The cops were like knocking in my doors, like, "Hey, you need to go get this kidney." And I was like, "I didn't do anything. I'm sorry." It's like six cops out in front of my house at like 3 a.m., dude.
Wow. So I
Yeah,
I understand then
they're
you were
pretty.
I understand you were transplanted in July of 2022. Do I have
Correct.
the date right?
I think it's yeah, July 3rd of 22. That's correct. Yeah.
All right. Tell us a little bit about what that was like the day you were transplanted.
Oh man, everything. I think everybody would say that it just happened so fast. It's like a blur, dude. They're so quick. Like from the point that I got to the hospital, I think I was already like kind of going under in like 30 minutes. It happened so fast, but I think I didn't emotionally process it until about 3 days later. Uh, uh, and I was just like, I think I remember just being in the bed crying because I was so like grateful for what happened. And like Mayo, they got some hot nurses. I had fun. So it was good. It was good. It was a good thing to wake up to. Like I got a new kidney, and then some great nurses. It was a good time. I was in
Awesome.
heaven.
What's your health been like since your kidney transplant to the present? Have you had any issues or complications?
Other than the fistula, not anything crazy. Definitely, I would say the hardest struggle is balancing energy. I think that anybody in our position would say that because I had to learn. It took me a long time to learn, like, whenever I'm doing comedy, because I mean, there's so many levels. I'm my own booker, I'm my own marketer. Well, luckily, like I have a team now that took a lot of that away. But before that, like own marketer, on social media, like I'm doing these gigs, like I'm trying to stay in shape, I'm trying to advocate, and so I would just burn myself out and end up passing out for like 3 days. And like to find that balance, even now, I just came off of a break for about 2 months, And I didn't even realize I was on break. I was just like tired of doing everything, you know? And so really just kind of managing that energy and realizing like, hey, you know, it sucks. Like in my heart, it sucks because I always want to go, but you know, you have to take that time to yourself and not overwork it. And because I was doing that, there was times where I would get sick, like a cold, and it would drag out for weeks because I didn't know how to slow down.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about using your platform to try and locate your donor family. Have you had any luck?
No, I've been writing letters for about 2 years now. Obviously, that news story had went out, and it's just I show a lot of people this letter, at least when I get the chance. But it's really just talking about living in a lot of gratitude and using my platform to you know I don't know. Like, I want to be the best advocate, comedian, speaker, whatever role that is. I want to be the best of that. And, getting this kidney, that's how I honor it. And so that was like the biggest thing for me. So I would love for that family to see what at least that I'm trying to do. And it's just one of the many things that motivate me.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about how you encourage other people to become organ donors. You sort of your mission in life, right?
Yeah. Um, it's actually funny. I've been working in some new stuff, but I've been working into my bit. I can share a little bit with you, but it's not like a work joke, but it's just like an example because I'm always, telling jokes, but I'm like educating people about stuff in the same time. And I do this whole bit about how dialysis is like toxic and, you know, they put me on a machine and like, the whole joke is like I end up running back to my ex. I'm not gonna do it right here, but the transition into that, like the real ending of that is, that's the great thing about relationships and dealing with kidney disease is like we can start over and then like acquire something new. And so like if that relationship doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. But if it doesn't kill you, make sure you check that box because I might need some spares. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm
Yeah.
always like, yeah, like people need to know that you know, you're going to save a life. That's what you're really doing as long as you're becoming an organ donor. And it means a lot to me. And so I put it into my comedy. It's something new. You got it firsthand. I threw it out there. There's the preview. But in like 3 weeks, we're going to have it together.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about what you have coming up in the future as far as your comedy is concerned. Where are you going to be, and where can we catch you? Where can we come see you?
Again, just catch me on my Instagram. A lot of my upcoming events, I have a lot of conferences coming up, but I recently got reached out by the Hill Collaborative. They're based out of Michigan. And so we're actually working on something, doing an event here in Phoenix. So if you're in that area, that'll probably start popping up on my social media soon. Definitely most of my time once I move to Texas next month will be spent with the Texas Kidney Foundation, really advocating, really helping them build there in Texas and getting people involved and just learning more about kidney disease because Tiffany Smith and her whole team over there, they're just been so supportive of me and what I do, and they're so focused on like just changing the outcome with kidney disease and dialysis. And she has made so much happen within like the political scene. Like I'm gonna spend a lot of time there. But other than that, I just want people to know like if you have a corporate gig, it's not just secluded to the kidney disease. I do all kind of corporate comedy, and yeah, I think I use it as a powerful story because it can be influenced in anybody's life, just kind of overcoming everything. And so if you need a corporate comedian, hit me up too.
We were talking before the broadcast about some of your prior experiences, and you mentioned George Lopez and a couple of others. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Um, well, the George Lopez thing, they heard my story, and that was pretty cool, and they were able to share it through their social media sources, and I actually ended up going out there to LA and meeting him and his people. And, for somebody living with kidney disease and me being a comic and seeing how he's used his platform to help people, like, it's just one of the things that motivated me. And I think one of the ones I didn't mention was Alonzo Boding. Very, very successful comedian. We did a podcast together and we talked about how he gave his kidney to his brother. And continually, I think Freeway, the rapper's out there doing his thing. Met him, transplant recipient. He talks about a lot. He got a lot of things going on in Philadelphia. Just so many people that I've came across that are so influential in this scene and care so much. Like it's a beautiful thing, and I've definitely been lucky to meet the people that I've met.
Great, great. Let's talk about your kidney advocacy work for a minute. Specifically, you're acting as a spokesperson for the Texas Kidney Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences?
So far, we've been doing an initiative to really help just more genetic testing out in the community of San Antonio, because it is largely Hispanic minority, and African Americans are kind of close behind it, and so really just advocating towards the minority community, because there's a lot that they lack out there, and testing and finding out is really just the first step in this battle. And that's pretty much our initiative through this year. And then we'll see what happens next. I'm sure that in the long run, we're going to put our heads together and possibly do some events and do some more awareness and get people more involved, and just kind of it's a great opportunity for me to start over and really kind of grow with an organization, because they're so well versed in kidney disease, and there's so much to learn. I'm always excited to put myself in a new position to pivot so I can excel, right? So we'll see what happens. For right now, we're focusing on that, and I'm just getting in this move. I'm in contact with them every day, and I'm I'm getting out there, because if I'm not in Austin on the comedy scene working my comedy, I'll be in San Antonio, trying to reach people, dealing with this chronic illness.
Okay. Can you explain to us, why do you feel comedy and kidney advocacy are your callings in life? Can you talk about that?
Um, I just feel even probably the reason that you started this is, which is truly, truly amazing. Just simply telling your story is so much, it's so powerful. And that's the biggest thing, is just really being that image for people. Because I think that's the hard thing in the world, is just to be vulnerable and to talk about these things. And I remember, I was scared and I felt alone. And, being able to share, our stories, that's what this all started with. It was just me, hey, this is what happened. And then I cracked jokes about it. It was that simple. And I feel like people need that no matter where they're at. They need to see people that aren't afraid to share their story and do something about it.
And absolutely. You're kind of implying or asking, how my advocacy started. I was a dialysis patient in center like you were, and at the time they were trying to cut services through national legislation to
Mm-hmm.
dialysis centers, less social workers, less technicians, less people to advise you and work with you. And I kind of looked around the room, and I'm an ex-lawyer, and the people that I was taking dialysis with, I don't know what your experience was, but I was the youngest guy in the room, and people were coming in ambulances, they were in wheelchairs, they were in walkers, This was like shooting fish in a barrel for these guys, as far as I was concerned. And to be real honest with you, Jazrome, it made me angry. It pissed me off. Okay, I mean, and then I put some of my lawyer stuff to work. I started working with larger advocacy groups like the NKF and the AAKP, the PKD Foundation. I have polycystic kidney disease. I put up a petition on change.org. I gave interviews to newspapers. I wrote letters to the editor, whatever it was I had to do to get the word out. And finally, these guys backed off a little bit. They said, we'll delay it. And in the process of delaying it, they got elected out of office. So you never seen a happier guy to see so many of those guys go, my friend. So
Right,
that's
right. No, that's beautiful. That'd be
that's a little bit
it's like
about
so
how that happened with me. Um,
Man, you really
okay.
put it up. I got you. Put it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
ready. He's ready.
Yeah. Your statement is, kill jokes, don't kill kidneys. And the way I felt is, I'm going to kill your legislation. How does that sound?
Man, you gotta dealing with legislation is definitely something new with me, and I've been getting a lot more involved with the different organizations. But man, like we need fighters like you that can really like lead that front, because I'm not strong when it comes to like the political area, but you got that. But hey, if they want to hear a joke about political stuff, I got you.
There you go. There you go.
Teamwork. Yeah.
Right. Do you have
Powerful, man.
any? Yeah, do you have any final statements that you wish to make to our audience before we conclude the broadcast? Sir, is there anything you would like to say, any advice you would like to give?
Uh, Man, I think I want to start something personal and just that keeps me going. No matter what happens, you have to wake up. Like I tell myself, no matter what happens today, I gotta keep going. Even when I feel like I fall, I just get up and like, I gotta keep going. I gotta keep going. I gotta keep going. And because you never know what just taking that step every day will take you. You never know where you end up. And I'm sure you would never thought you would be here. And I definitely didn't think that I would be traveling, telling jokes about kidney disease, and just getting up and just doing it. And doing your research is always important. Jim's really good at that. I wish I had that kind of tenacity, but we all got to play to our strengths, and building a good circle and having people around you that share like all the same vision, that's important. So just keep fighting, keep going for what you believe in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us and talking to us a little bit about your comedy. I look forward to trying to catch your act sometime.
Yeah, one day, man. It's sometimes I shock myself, but at the end of the day, I try not to do it for me, man. I try to do it for the people that don't know, because you don't have no, you do know actually how many people be like, "What's kidney disease?"
Yeah.
So crazy. You do
Get
know. I
get
wasn't gonna say
that
you
get
don't.
that all the time.
Yeah, we
All the
got to end
time.
that. We got to end that.
We do. We got to make people more knowledgeable.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Got to raise awareness and educate. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story. And, if you ever get in the Chicago area, please let me know, because I live in Hammond. I'm maybe 20 minutes as the crow flies out of Chicago. So it'd be easy for me to
Yeah.
come up and see you. I'd love to catch your act sometime.
Sure, I'll have to make I'll try to have to get up there. My goal for this year is to continue pushing with the corporate stuff and really tearing into the club scene. So hopefully, I'll be in your city near you. But
Okay.
no, thank you for having me up there. I truly appreciate it. This was fun. This was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a good time. So, any rate, I have some things I have to button up with our audience. I've kept you for almost 40 minutes, and I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy. You're free to leave if you wish to do that. I just have to tell people, what's coming on next week and, what they can expect from me. So, again, thank you so much, Jazrome. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna do my catchphrase: "Kill jokes, not kidneys."
Absolutely. Absolutely. Peace, my
You have a
friend.
good one.
All right. You too.
Bye.
Uh, all right, everybody. That's our broadcast for today. Um, Next week, we've got a return guest. Our friend Gwendolyn Westland is coming back with us, dialysis patient. She is still waiting for a kidney transplant. I had a friend that posted a picture of Gwen while she was on dialysis, and it was such a disturbing photograph to see my friend in that condition that I want to have her back and have her catch us up on her health conditions and how she's doing and where she's listed and what we can do to help get the word out to help her get her transplant because she needs help. She didn't look good, so I want to put the full strength of my broadcast audience behind her and try to at least get some semblance of publicity out there. So um, and again, I thank everybody for tuning in. As you know, if you missed the broadcast, the instant replay will be available. I posted on Facebook, I posted on YouTube. There'll be links so you can find it, and you can catch the replay if you missed it. Because I know we're a little earlier than we normally broadcast at 7 p.m. at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, any rate, I want to thank you again. I want to thank Jazrome for coming on, and wow, great kidney story, very interesting experience. Never had a comedian on before, so any rate, thank you all, and we'll talk to you next week.